What is up, everybody? It is Charlie and John with Cult of Collectors. We are here with actor, writer, director, producer, Lana Winters. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for inviting me to be on your show.
No problem. Yeah, this is kind of new to us because John at one point wanted to start doing some live streams. At least he was already doing some with some friends of his, but he wanted to do more. And I said, well, hey, I'm willing to start a team with you and do something new. And so came about that.
That's always fun to have someone to collaborate with.
Oh, yeah, because we're both physical media collectors, and that's where we share our love for like movies and cinema.
Wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate you coming on, too, because we like having other people on other than just collectors on. We like talking pop culture a little bit as well.
Oh, yeah.
As well as, we're movie fans as much as we are collectors, so.
Yeah. And I did watch your short that you had sent me too, and I sent it to both Jody and John. Jody is late. I don't know if he'll make it or not, but he said he watched it. I asked what he thought of it, and he said he enjoyed it. John, what did you like about it?
I liked it a whole lot. It was little bit David Lynchy to me. You know what I'm saying?
No, David Lynch.
David Lynchian. That's what I was trying to say. David Lynchian. Excuse me. Are you familiar with David Lynch? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Did you? What other than being an actor in that? What other role did you have in that movie or short?
In Midnight Cinema Hour.
Yes. The one that I shared.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was Miss Ballinger. I was the one on stage. I was the host.
I thought so. Yeah. I thought so.
That's why I was asking. I didn't know if you were a producer on it as well, or just an actor.
She did the whole thing.
Actress.
Yeah.
Oh, did you direct it as well?
Yes, I
Okay.
I helped write it. I directed it. I produced it, and I acted in it.
I apologize.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, go ahead,
John. The link came up under that other guy's name. I apologize. I don't have his name in front of me.
Berry? No, he was the editor.
Oh, okay.
So the version that y'all watched was the kind of like the rough draft.
I kind of thought so.
Yeah, and so this one, the one that we sent off to the film festival was the one that was edited with sound, and things like that. So it was kind of just giving followers, the horror family, film nerds and pros, kind of a little sneak peek into what we're doing before sending it off.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I had a friend named David. He at one point was trying to do short films and stuff like that. And of course, because he wasn't getting any traction, he just kind of gave up and never pursued any more. And I'm surprised because he wasn't like, say, a bad writer, bad director or anything like that. I guess he just wasn't getting the right audience, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. So on my journey, I mean, just doing film alone, it's time consuming and it's emotional. There's high emotions, and because you're trying to follow this time schedule, you're trying to get things done. You're trying to stay on this little micro budget of a short film, So I think that it's important to be able to work with people that that are reliable, that are pleasant to be around on set.
Yeah.
My sets, I like to feel like this is my family I'm working with.
In other words, having fun while doing it.
Yes, that's when the magic happens.
I believe that because anywhere that you don't feel comfortable in general, you're not going to have the best experience. And without having that best experience, you're not going to perform your best either.
You're absolutely right. So being from Texas, I was raised with making people feel welcome. Like,
hospitality, Southern hospitality.
We want you to feel welcome, and they make no mistake. But don't mistake our kindness for weakness. Yeah,
exactly.
Everyone's your family. You welcome them in. We love you. That's just how we were raised down here.
Oh yeah. Well, what got you into the horror genre?
Well, I mean, it started when I was a kid. My mother was into horror. So when everybody else, they were watching cartoons, I was watching the old Vincent Price films and
nice.
Yeah, I mean, and I tell people this. I mean, I actually watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre before entering kindergarten. My mother was. I don't advise anyone to do that to their children, but my mother was raised in Europe, some of her life, and over here. So I had a very broad upbringing of the
Okay.
States and Europe. So nothing was off the table. Like film, I could watch anything I wanted as long as it wasn't pornography. So there you go.
And, my mom basically did the same thing to me. I was able to watch like people get cut, but basically slaughtered to death.
Right.
But you weren't allowed to see tits and ass kind of deal. Like, really? You're letting me watch this guy get brutally murdered, but I can't see a woman with a nipple? It was an odd, upbringing. Because, like, I was 5 years old when I saw Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right.
So I kind of have that similar experience with you.
So, and I find that most people who are true heart, it was brought up to my attention. I mean, I just always felt and thought that people like us, this was the norm for us. This was our normal, just to appreciate film and really love it, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it was brought to my attention by this one account. It's like, no, you're a hardcore fan. You're, and it just dawned on me. I was like, whoa, he's right.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way. It was just normal to me.
What are your favorite, like, horror icons?
Oh, gosh. I mean, like, icons, like, as in talent or in villains or...
We'll say villains.
My first love is going to be Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The reason being is because that is a very real villain. I mean,
yes,
that could really happen.
Ted Bundy, right? I think it was based on Ted Bundy. Yeah.
Yeah. I believe it was a serial killer who lived up in Wisconsin, Ed something. I think that's who influenced him.
Ed Gein. Sorry, Ed Gein.
Yeah.
I got those names mixed up. I do know the serial killer names. It's just sometimes I do get them mixed up. Like I know Madonna Wayne Gacy, aka Pogo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of funny because like the band Marilyn Manson, they get their names from like the people they find intriguing, like the whole Marilyn Monroe, Charles Manson, and putting it together.
Right.
So I always found that, interesting.
There used to be a band around Lexington here that was called Ted Bundy's Volkswagen.
Oh my God, that's weird. That's cool, but weird at the same time. I know that there are horror-themed bands out there in general, like Mushroomhead being one of them. And then Slipknot is basically horror-themed. War, old band. Actually, it's funny that we talked about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Did you ever see the remake with Jessica Biel?
Yes, I did.
Now, I don't know if you ever saw in the special features or not, but there was a music video by a band called Motograder, and it was a song called Suffocate. And they are horror-based in a way. They're no longer together at the moment, but the singer of Five Finger Death Punch, that was his old band.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, now I know. Yeah, yeah.
One of my favorite bands of all time is Five Finger Death Punch, but before then it was Motograder.
But hey, they're a good band.
Oh, yes, they are. Yeah. Great band. And Ivan still kind of does the horror theme stuff a little bit.
I think that some of these metal guys, I think that a lot of them do love horror. So they kind of just put both worlds together,
Did you ever see The Devil's Carnival?
No.
Oh, okay. It's a horror musical. Kind of like Repo Genetic Opera, if you know that one.
Yeah. When it comes to, I kind of fell off track of music. I want to say a couple of years ago, I think the last real metal band that I paid attention to was out of Texas. It was called Upon a Burning Body. It's because some of one of their songs, like Texas Blood Money, I guess they paid like tribute to Pantera. Because of course, I grew up in Ozfest and seeing Pantera play here in Texas, and just shutting the house down when they would appear on stage, and it was just like, now we see why they're famous, because they're wicked talented. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's funny because I remember being in high school. I think I was in it was either freshman or sophomore year, one or the other, and I was told I was going to go to a concert. All I knew is that it was Black Sabbath. And that's all I knew. I didn't know that Typo Negative was on that tour.
Oh yeah.
And special guest Pantera. So I got to see Pantera before they broke up, and I was so excited. Before Phil shaved his head again, he had it all long, and oh yeah, it was awesome. And everybody in the crowd singing the songs, and like, damn, everybody's a big fan here, you know.
The power of music.
Oh God, I loved it. Oh, like bands in general, I love being at concerts because of the energy you get from the bands.
Right.
Definitely. John D, are you into metal music at all?
Not a whole lot. Not really.
Not really. What do you listen to?
I mean, I like a little bit of everything, but I mean, as far as metal goes, I like, the more of like, I don't know,
Classic.
Yeah, I guess like
Metallica classic.
Megadeth. No, I never cared much for Metallica too much. But
Slayer.
Megadeth.
Slayer. I do like Slayer.
Yeah, some of that stuff. Yeah, but I've been more. My problem with metal. My problem with metal was that whenever when I was doing sound engineering work, I worked at a club in Lexington, and it was all ages club. So I got to hear all the shitty. all the shitty high school metal bands. So I ran sound for metal bands, and it got burned out. There was some good metal band. There were some good metal bands around Lexington that were actually good. But mostly I got burned out of it. But my type of music, I always like 60s psychedelic music and stuff, like the Beach Boys and stuff like that's more.
The Beach Boys was like, I felt like the threshold to like California punk in a way.
Oh yeah. I agree. Oh, and I like the Beach Boys too. No,
they're fun.
With that.
that's just kind of a broad stroke saying the Beach Boys, but I like stuff in that genre. But also like prog rock and stuff like ELO and people like that. King Crimson.
Nice, yeah. Because my taste for music is all over the place. I like anything from like say Slipknot to cultural music, which is like say Celtic music. I do like some hip hop, but I don't like all of hip hop because to me a lot of it's just talking shit, and I don't care for that.
Well, the best hip hop was a lot of the early stuff, like back in the early 80s,
like
and
90s.
stuff like that, Sugar Hill Gang and stuff like that. Whenever they were like more group oriented, and they, it was like a lot more beautiful. Before it got into the gangster stuff, before it got gangster rap, it was like some of it was really beautiful.
Yeah, very poetic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, I would say my favorite rappers would be like Biggie, Tupac, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Eminem, and two more: Cypress Hill and Insane Cloud Posse.
Yeah, see, there's so many people that they love Wu-Tang. I never got into Wu-Tang. I was more of a Bone Thugs girl.
Yeah, I mean, I tried Wu-Tang, couldn't really do it, and
the music didn't speak to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely agree with that.
There was a really good, it's basically one guy. It's got obviously one rapper and a DJ, but they were called Black Alicious. I don't know if you've ever heard. Yeah. And they were really good. Yeah, the main guy was Gift of Gab, and the DJ was Excel, I think it was his name. That's not his full, but he's amazing. He's an amazing, very intelligent. He does one rap about just all it's like cut chemist type stuff. It's like talking about chemistry and stuff like that. He raps about stuff like all kinds of different things, but that's something he can rap about, going through all the elements of the periodic table and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. There's an episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Will is studying for his chemistry class, I think it is, and he's like saying all the periodic table things in a rap. I thought it was funny. So Lana, what got you into the whole writing, directing and stuff like that?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Of course, I was a teenager in the 90s. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so growing up, artists and people who were of talent, they just did. They didn't wait on anyone.
Mhm.
If they got with their friends and they created,
Oh, yeah.
they weren't there to impress anyone. Hey, you want to go do a film? Let's go do it. I mean, that's just the way it was. And that's the mentality I grew up with. And
Okay.
I wasn't able to do it early in life because life happens, right?
Mhm.
And so now that I'm at a place in life that I can pursue that, I'm just doing it like they did, when I was growing up. You just do.
Mhm.
Time waits for no one.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because I like the concept of your short film because they don't know about that they're dead until the end,
Right,
basically.
right.
And I was like, if that actually got the right people behind it, gave it the budget that it needed, and all that kind of stuff, it could
It
have
would be
actually.
amazing.
Oh,
And I'll tell you right now, the people that I had on set with me, they are so talented. Like with the right budget, I mean, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
can only do what you can with a budget this big. So,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it goes to show you that with the right people, you can create something. So don't let other people tell you that, it has to be a certain way.
Mhm.
I've just kind of always marched to my own beat in life and never really cared what people thought about me. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, bye. And then just keep going, and that's the way I approach writing, filmmaking. I don't need anyone's stamp of approval. I just want to do something because I love it and I want to do it. If
Oh,
that
of
makes
course.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. It's funny because with me, I'm more of an idea person. Sometimes it's hard for me to write down like how to like say put the story together, but the
Hmm.
idea can come, but having the right words to put on paper is really hard for me.
So you write notes. Just
I
write notes.
could.
Write
Yeah.
notes first.
Like I have an idea for I guess you could say like a horror thriller type of movie. I already have a title and I have an idea for it. I call it The Winds of October.
Hmm.
And the idea is to kind of take the concept of the show Supernatural, but mix it with the movie Paranormal Activity, where they are, supernatural hunters, but, more like they're actually filming it, catching it
Right.
all on camera kind of deal. And everything happens in October. That's when that's why I call it like the winds, like it's following the wave.
Right.
So that's my idea.
So write notes down,
But the thing about this day and age, though, it's nice that we do have more modern technology. It does make it a little bit. It don't make it easier to make a film, but it makes it cheaper to make a film. So it gives more people an opportunity to to make movies. Because I don't remember in a documentary I was watching, but they were talking about back in the 50s and 60s, the amount of crew and amount of equipment it took to make a movie. Making like
Oh
a
yeah.
low budget movie in those days was extremely challenging. And I know it's still challenging these days to make one, but it's a lot easier not having to heft around big, heavy cameras and stuff like that. What they used to use a lot of times because they had to use the cheap old cameras usually if they were making like an Ed Wood movie or something or some of these.
I was about to say it's
Yeah.
funny you say that because
Yeah.
in a technical aspect, James Cameron's The Terminator is basically a B movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
right.
B movies can be just as good.
I agree. I agree.
What kind of
I used to
cameras
work at
did you
Blockbuster.
use? I don't want to get too technical. What kind of cameras do you use on that particular movie you shot?
Well, you're going to have to ask my cinematographer that. Okay. I'm going to be very honest with you. In directing, I just got with my cinematographer
Mhm.
and I told him exactly what I wanted and the vision that I had. So I didn't ask which camera we were using because I'm not one of those camera snobs. I'm not one of those film snobs. I just put the trust in my cinematographer I said, hey, this is the kind of vision I want. And he said, okay. I said, can you do that? And he was like, yes. So there you have. I didn't go to film school. I'm not going to
Mhm.
sit here and pretend that I went to film school. I was supported by people who did go to film school. And that's why I try not to throw titles about myself, like being a director and stuff like that. Because the only reason why I say that is because there's some pros out there that they spent their livelihood, you know, and time and invested their self into college and had to really hustle just to get a film made. So I try to stay in my lane with that, even though I know that I directed this, we wrote this. So the cinematography is all my cinematographer, but you know, we kind of just work together to get it done.
I would say most of the greats didn't go to film school. Tarantino didn't go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But
some
you
did and some didn't, but you know, like Lucas, they went to film school, obviously, and people like that. But I'd say, you know, like John Ford and some of those old school guys back in, you know, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, those guys probably didn't go to film school. A lot of those guys just started out at the bottom and worked their way up in production crews, and
I would say a lot
you
of them
know,
did, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, because in order to get better, you got to, you know, work at it.
right,
And Tarantino said his film school was just watching movies. So I mean,
right,
you know, if you're talented, you're talented. That's
you're right,
you can go to school as much as you want, and you know not going to make any. If you don't have any talent, then it's not going to make any difference. If you have some, you know, some knowledge of how to use a camera, or how
right.
to, you know,
Oh
because
yeah.
I mean that's kind of how Kevin Smith was. You know, he he started to go to just like one of those. It was basically just like a I think it's supposed to be a 1 year film school that he went to originally, but he quit halfway through and said, you know, there's nothing I can really learn here. He went and learned basic stuff, how to use like a editing rack and all that stuff. I don't know what they were called back then, steam back, but it's so you could learn how to edit like actual film. So he just quit 6 months through and said, well, I'm just going to use this money to make Clerks. And
Yeah, he went into
he went
debt
home.
for it.
He went home and used the rest of his tuition money to make Clerks.
And
But
maxed out his credit cards is what he said.
yeah, yeah. And he but later on though, there is that funny story with Bruce Willis when he was making Cop Out,
Oh God.
where
Yeah.
he was he didn't understand lenses or something that goes in a camera to get a certain shot, and Bruce Willis like corrected him. I said, "No, you got to use this lens to go in this camera at this certain shot." When they were making this movie, so he was kind of embarrassed that he didn't know have some of that knowledge, you know. But he wasn't a cinematographer either, so you know.
But you
But
know,
yeah,
make no
yeah,
mistake. Make
yeah.
no mistake. There are those that are in the film industry that, if you didn't go to film school, if you don't have a college degree, you're not working on our set. There's some people out there like that, and it's unfortunate because, like, I think that there's walks of talent from all different walks of
Mhm.
life, and how much we're missing out on if we continue, you know, to think that way. Or, but I can see where they're coming from. Like, oh, so I put all this money into get myself educated on this, and here you are, you just walk on without putting the time in, and you want to be a part of this, like you want to be part of this small circle. So there's a lot of that in the film industry, and that's why I prefer indie, because you keep it as a family, and it doesn't matter if you went to film school. I care about your passion, I care about your drive, I care about you. Can I say a cuss word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I care about you not being an asshole.
Yeah.
I care about you
Yeah.
being nice and treating your other fellow
Colleagues, workers,
colleagues, yeah,
employees, whatever. Yeah.
with common courtesy and respect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that. I mean, it kind of
Yeah.
goes hand to hand with the issue that Zack Snyder was having with the Justice League movie. You know, because I mean, Warner Brothers wanted it a certain way. He was like, "Well, no, I want my movie, the one that I was doing in my own vision."
yeah,
You know, I understand that you're at studio. I get all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, you got to learn to trust me. I
yeah,
know what I'm doing. It's something that the fans want too. It's not just me. The fans want it too.
right.
And if you're not going to listen to the fans, then that means you don't care about your business.
And you're absolutely right. It's very disrespectful to feel that way or to be that way towards people. This is how I see it. The everyday worker You know, the people in society that, you know, that they don't make over $100K a year. They're living, they're just working. Those are the people who are going to pay money to go see your film. These are the people who are going to buy your movie. It's a worker bees of society. So give your viewers, your fans, some respect and trust that they're going to embrace your film, and give your director and, you know, whomever a little bit of breathing room.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, because to me, it's like a needed if you want a good movie.
Right.
You know, especially done right.
Yeah. And so,
well, unfortunately, that's what Disney is not doing right now. They're not giving the respect to their fans or anybody else.
Especially as like a physical media collector,
Marvel.
they're not that great. I used to love Disney to death and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, I still, you know, like Disney. It's not like I hate Disney, but but as like, say, somebody who collects movies, you know,
right.
There are things that I believe that Disney could make money off of, but choose not to because they feel like streaming is more important. And I'm like, but you guys as a streaming service can just crash and then have to work on the bugs and everything else. When us collectors have the physical media, we could just pop it in our player.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my deal with them and other streaming platforms. But I have nothing against streaming.
Well, and then they're also, I believe they're making a concerted effort to push out movie theaters too. I think they're really trying to drown them because that's basically part of not that agenda exactly, but that's kind of part of the Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, that fiasco of her not getting paid for the royalties of Disney Plus. Yeah.
And
that's
I'm so
glad
she's
suing over it. Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought that up about pushing out, you know, movie theaters. And that is the beauty of my short, is bringing back to show viewers how important a movie theater is.
Oh yeah.
You know, because when I was growing up, I went to theaters that were built like in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Like my siblings, I had older siblings. And so the movie theaters that I was accustomed to going to were just beautiful architect.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I did Midnight Cinema Hour, I wanted to kind of give the love of the theater of what I had growing up to my viewers.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
did you have to rent the theater to be able to film in there, or what? How did you?
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes whenever you film at a place. You scout out, you know, you have to pay a fee and you film.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like maybe somebody you knew and just said, "Yeah, go for it" or whatever.
No, because not every place is going to be welcoming to filming on their location. Yeah, so you have to scout out. You have to do your homework.
I see.
Yeah.
Nice. Are you into any of, like, say, paranormal TV shows?
Am I into them?
Mm-hmm.
I used to be. These days, it's just so hard for me to watch like shows. But I used to be into what was it? Celebrity Ghost Story. Do you remember that?
Oh yes, I do. It was on A&E.
Good. It was so good. But that's really about the only paranormal like show I would watch back in the day.
I'm a big fan of Ghost Adventures. Yeah, there's just something about that show, because before that I used to watch on Sci-Fi called Ghost Hunters, and I used to love that show. And don't get me wrong, I still do love the show itself, but Ghost Adventures just had this certain edge to it where it was like they wanted to have you like scared with them in a sense when they're experiencing it, you know?
Right.
And that was what I loved about it. Now, to me, they're a little bit too cinema, rather than, say, being authentic.
Too commercial, too mainstream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure they still have real experiences and stuff like that, but it's just not as authentic as it used to be.
Right.
Where it was just three guys, cameras, you know, filming and recording with like a digital recorder, like voices that they're not personally hearing until they play it back.
Right. And you feel like you're with friends on this adventure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Supernatural was also a show I really was into.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever seen that, but
Like the series Supernatural?
Yeah, the series Supernatural.
No,
Never
It's
have watched that
it's
Like,
before.
Lana, what were you watching? I was like, I was watching horror.
Well, Supernatural, it's a mixture of like everything horror if you really think about it.
hmm
I enjoyed the shit out of it. I thought it was a good show.
Yeah.
Because I was afraid to watch it at first. I was thinking, oh crap, another teeny bopper show, stuff
Oh,
like that.
on the CW, right?
Yes.
Okay, so on the CW, the only two like series I got into,
Hmm.
it was The Secret Circle, and
Okay.
then I did watch Vampire Diaries, but then I think after the last like season, I kind of just tuned it out. But yeah, and
Huh.
I got tired that some of these companies that they would start a series and then they would just end it on you.
Hmm.
I think one series that I got really interested in that would play on Wednesday nights, it was called Happy Town. And it had like a really great cast, and they only showed like 3 segments, and then all of a sudden they just pulled it. I was like, what happened? I want to know what's behind the door. Like, look it up.
Yeah.
If you look up the cast that was on Happy Town, it would have been fabulous. It would have been a great series.
Huh.
But they say you have to know your audience, and I guess I can't remember. Was it on NBC? Was it NBC? Anyway, I can't remember which station it was on, but apparently, people who were tuning in weren't into that kind of genre, I guess.
Oh, okay.
So it's unfortunate.
Well, what about American Horror Story? Are you into that?
I love American Horror Story.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I hate to say it, I've only watched the first season. I haven't.
The first season? Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I
that's
like
fine.
that
Yeah.
one.
It was good.
Oh,
When I think that the guy who played Tate really channeled what it was like to be like a teenager in the 90s, and when he's walking down the hall with his face like painted like a skeleton, it was
mm-hmm.
just oof, it was just chilling.
Oh yeah. It's funny because when I was watching the first season, I had watched The Nun not long before,
Mm-hmm.
and finding out that the girl who's in The Nun is actually the sister of and I forget her name, but she's the woman who plays Lorraine Warren in The Conjuring.
Oh wow, yeah.
It's her sister in real life.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, what? No way. That's cool. And yeah, and watching her in American Horror Story, I was like, she looks familiar. And then it dawned on me that she was the girl in The Nun, and I was like, holy crap, that's cool. And then finding out they're related, I'm like, okay, that's even cooler.
That's her little sister. Yeah.
Her little sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that was kind of intriguing. Did you see The Nun?
Yes, I did.
Did you enjoy The Nun?
See, a lot of people didn't like The Nun. I did.
I mean, I liked it. It was just, to me, I wasn't scared of it. I didn't get jump scares, no nothing from it. And I think the reason why is because since I already knew who the nun was, basically, from the second Conjuring movie, I guess my expectations were just different.
Oh, I see. Yeah. It was more of a drama for you than it was horror.
Yeah, if anything. And when I saw what the lady looks like without all that makeup on of the nun, she's a very attractive lady.
Yes. It's amazing what makeup can do.
Oh, I know. I was like, damn, you ugly bitch now. Oh, I could picture some of the funniest parodies to happen if like people were to, do voiceover work for horror movies and then just like you just hear background noise.
Yeah.
That'd be funny in my opinion. Like some of the TikTok videos of people that'll do voiceovers for like animals, like you hear this like, hey, what are you doing in my backyard? Stuff like that. And then the other guy's like, what you want? As if they're going to try to fight, but yet they're so far away, they're not even near each other.
Right.
And they're like, fuck you, Tommy. No, fuck you. No, fuck you.
What part of Texas do you live in now, if you don't mind me asking?
North Texas.
North?
The DFW area? Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I have a niece that lives in Texas.
Okay.
I don't remember. I think she was more like maybe towards like southern Texas. I can't remember the name of the town. I can't because like her and her mom live in the same area, and but yeah, they used to live here in California originally.
Yeah, it sucks that the Alamo Draft House went out of business. I know that's down in Austin, but
Yeah.
were you familiar with that?
Yeah, but I never went to that particular um, theater there. I mean, there was a few of them throughout Texas. Yeah.
Covering up my
Pretty
burger.
Is that where you or did you grow up in the Dallas area, or
Yeah,
were you born
yes, I did.
somewhere else?
I grew up. I grew up on the Fort Worth side, but like I said, I spent equal time in Fort Worth and Dallas growing up because my grandparents lived out in Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah, don't eat chips, please.
Chips.
Don't eat chips, please. Yes, because it crunches very loud.
That
That's
wasn't.
that's a guilty pleasure lesson from watching Big Brother. People hate when the people on Big Brother who watch the live feeds, which I don't, but not anymore. But they would complain, "Quit eating fucking chips."
Lana, have you ever been to California?
I have.
What
I
part?
was just there a month ago.
Oh,
I was in North Hollywood, and I spent
so Southern California. Okay,
and I spent some time in Malibu while I was there too. So yeah,
nice.
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I've only been to like Southern California like less than a handful of times. Funny enough, even though I live here, you would think somebody like me would go, "Oh yeah, I go to Disneyland all the time." Nope, only went once, and I was 5 years old.
What part
What
of
is that?
California are you from?
I'm in the Central Valley, which is like in between like Fresno and Bakersfield.
Okay, I know where you're at. Okay.
Yeah,
It's probably
a
like
small town called Tulare.
6 hours away from LA, isn't it?
About 5 to 6, depending on traffic.
Yeah.
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 If traffic ain't bad, you can actually get there quicker.
Yeah.
It's always the traffic.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Is it? I never did ask you before, Charlie. Is it kind of desert like there where you're at, or is it?
Where I live, yes, it's very
Okay.
similar to the whole like dry heat and crap like that when it's like summer. Oh, it sucks here during the summer major.
Because that's what when I picture bakers, that's what I picture. Excuse me.
Oh yeah,
But I never know if there is it. There's a Baker's Field as well. That's different, or is that where you're at? Bakersfield?
no. It's Bakersfield is just one place, and it's in the Central Valley where I live. But where I live specifically is a town called Tulare.
Okay, so that's around that area. Okay, so
Yeah, I'm about an hour away from Bakersfield.
You're really that's not too far from the. I'm sorry, I've got on that tangent, but that's not far from the border. That's not far from the California border, is it? Like Utah or not Utah? Excuse me, Nevada.
I know a lot of people will drive from where I live in general and will actually make the drive to Nevada, to Vegas, stuff like that. Even people from like LA will do that too.
Okay.
Oh yeah, like Bakersfield, because Jonathan Davis, the singer of Korn, he lives in Bakersfield. I mean, hell, they're all from Bakersfield originally, but he's one of the remaining people that lives there. He used to live in Huntington Beach, I think it was, and he said it just got crap there, so he decided to move back to Bakersfield because, I mean, it's his original home. It's where he's from. It's where he grew up, and he feels comfortable.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, it's a shame what's happened to the big cities and well, at least Los Angeles and San Francisco, yeah.
Well, I know that the state is actually trying to replace Gavin Newsom, as governor, and one of the guys that's actually in the lead right now is a YouTuber named Kevin Rath. Yeah, try to say that 5 times fast.
I actually like Larry Elder though. He was a YouTuber as well, but he was actually pretty intelligent.
Well, Kevin's actually
as far as being somebody that can govern the state, I don't know, but I don't think you can do much worse than.
Well, Kevin was a self-made millionaire at the age of 29. You know, like he came to California. I can't remember what state he came from, but he moved to California when he was a teenager, like barely 18 kind of deal, and got into real estate, went to school, stuff like that, and got really good at it to where he just was making money. And then, of course, I discovered him on YouTube because when the pandemic first started, he was one of the people I was watching when they were ever talking about stimulus and stuff like that. So, and then I just got hooked. He's got a good energy. I like his energy.
Mm.
I mean, I try not to talk politics, but if I do, I'll go on a tangent. And
I apologize. I got off. I got us off.
It's okay.
Yeah. I was gonna. It was just a joke, but I was gonna say, are you related to Shelley Winters? But I was mainly going to ask you first. I don't even know if that's your actual name. I don't know if you just go by that.
I was about to say, I think it's a stage name.
It's a stage name.
Okay.
I value my
That's why
privacy.
it was a joke.
I value my privacy.
Yeah.
No worries. I mean, I like the name.
Well,
Shelley Winters was probably a stage name too, more than likely. I don't know that
A
for a
lot
fact.
of actors are actually like they're not their real names.
No, most of them it's not.
Like Charlie Sheen is actually not Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
It's Estevez.
It's the last name is Estevez, exactly.
Yeah. Well, they do that for protection from like
that too.
Crazy people, stalkers and stuff like that. And there's a presence that you give to viewers, and then you have your own life, and people are
exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, some of them do have their real names. Don't get me wrong, some of them do, but it's a good portion of them that don't. Like Keanu Reeves, that's his real name. But at one time, Hollywood was trying to get him to change his name, and he talked about it on Jimmy Fallon. And he told Jimmy the name that he thought of way back then. He's like, what was the name? Chuck Spadina.
Wow.
I'm like, really?
Yeah, that didn't fit him.
No, it was funny. Like, Jimmy Kimmel said, hey, did you ever meet another Keanu? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, who? My cousin.
Yeah. I love that.
Oh, I love Keanu Reeves. I like his energy. He's fun.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite actors, actually. And I think it's because ever since Bill and Ted, when they came out when I was a kid, that's the Keanu I knew.
Right.
And when I found out that he's all doing the movie Speed and The Matrix and these other movies, I almost didn't know that was him, in general. Like, wait, that was the guy that's so excellent,
Right.
No.
But that's amazing how people, like if you do certain parts, like fans think that that's actually the person. The beauty of acting is the illusion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, what's sad about actors, especially a TV actor, is how they kind of get pigeonholed into that. They get into that role and they can't kind of get out of it.
Right.
It's kind of sad. Especially it happens worse for television actors. That happens too. Sorry, I'm not thinking of the right word for it, but they get stuck as people want to think them as in that role the rest of their life, and like it's hard for them to get other jobs and things like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, anyway, but I actually do have a good question for you, because I know earlier you said that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is basically your favorite villain, so to speak. Okay. Was there any like horror icon that you were just like, don't really care for that one? Whether it be like, say, Jason, Chucky, Freddy, or Candyman, whoever.
I guess I never really thought about it. I've never really felt that way. I know that here recently, a lot of people who didn't grow up the way we did watching horror, they get very fascinated by like Jason and Michael Myers and stuff like that. I guess I just never really felt negative that way. Like it never occurred to me.
Basically, just loved horror as it was. Basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I never really had an issue with horror villains myself. Um, I definitely could say the one horror villain that's kind of an underrated one is from Return of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Tarman.
Tarman brains. Yeah.
Yeah. He scared the shit out of me as a kid. And technically, as an adult, he still creeps me the fuck out. I mean, and I heard that the person that they got to play him was a guy who does miming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Was he on?
What was that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, basically. And funny enough, I'm actually Facebook friends with Beverly Randolph, who was the preppy looking girl.
Oh, yeah. The group.
Yeah, where she's the one who's like worried about her boyfriend, wanting to go see her boyfriend, you know, the one who gets infected.
Right.
Yeah, I'm actually Facebook friends with her.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. I'm proud of it. I'm even Facebook friends with Aru Luster, who formerly banned Il Nino, if you know that band at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually Facebook friends with him. Who else am I Facebook friends with? I think that's all I really have for like so-called famous people. Aru's a really nice guy. I mean, I asked him if he wouldn't mind being a part of the stream, and he's like, and he saw my subscribers, and he's like, "You don't really have a big audience because I only have like 500."
And you know, and that's not a good reason not to be like, you know, like I don't mind chatting, and like a following is not like an issue for me. It's like, okay, we can chat, you know, like,
and we appreciate it.
Like, what does it matter, right? Like, am I supposed to take your followers? Are they supposed to follow me? No, I'm here to talk to y'all.
Yeah, exactly. Because I did that with Charlie Talbert, who played in a movie called Angus. I don't know if you know that title or not, but it's from 1995. It had George C. Scott and Kathy Bates as well in it. And young James Vanderbeek.
Okay.
And basically, it's a story of a kid named Angus. And he's a big kid, so he's been bullied all of his life of just being that big kind of fat kid.
Right.
And towards the end of the movie, of course, he gets his redemption, like becomes the hero, so to speak. And when I found out that he had an Instagram, I took a chance and said, "Hey, would you mind, you know, doing a Zoom call with me and my friend Ben?" And he said, "Sure." And we set it up and all that kind of stuff. And we've been, you know, I guess you could say, you know, acquaintances since.
Right. And so, like, if you know, if anyone ever says no, like, don't take it to heart, don't feel bad. It's just some of these people are busy and they value their time. So.
And that's understandable. I mean, when Aru told me that he didn't want to because of how big my subscribers were, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it kind of hurt my feelings because it was one of those, well, I was hoping you would just have a chat. I'm not trying to, you know.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
But
so.
I'm ADHD.
Well, but
I suffer a little bit from my own self, you know, pity.
Well, there's this weird, seems like there's a weird trend on YouTube, like when channels get like at the monetized level over 1,000, or they get bigger, seems like they quit associating with small channels. That's what I don't want on my this. I still want to have people that are small, my size, because I'm small. I only got 175 subscribers, so I'm not anything. So, but I'm happy with it just because I'm here to have fun making videos.
Have fun, have a good time, and if people want to view, let them view. You know, and so.
But I mean, if I ever make it to that point, which I'm not worried about, but if I ever made it to that point, I would still try to host small channels and give them a chance, you know. But it seems like the bigger they get, they only want to host other channels that are big. Like they only want to host like larger channels that, and it's. I guess it's just this mentality is if I get these other channels that have a lot of subscribers, then I'll just add to my subscribers. I guess I can understand that, but you know, you're not really supporting your community very well when you do that.
Or they're becoming YouTube snobs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I know a few of them.
Yeah.
I mean, hell,
Yeah.
I mean, there's one guy, I'm going to try not to say his name, but I'm sure John knows who I'm talking about in general. But in fact, kind of mentioned him yesterday when we were talking to Beth. Because you said you didn't like the fact that he got it for free. Remember that? The Olympics. John? Oh, I think John froze.
It's okay. He'll come back.
There he is.
There he is.
There he is. He froze for a second.
Am I back now? Yeah.
Yes, there you are. I didn't know if you heard
I
me
don't
or
know
not.
what's wrong with my internet tonight, but if it happens, you guys just keep going because it'll keep streaming. So just go on without me if I drop out.
Okay. Well, I know we're getting close to that time anyway, because I know it's like really late for you over there, John. And
Yeah,
I
we
don't
can go on a
want
little bit longer. I don't just however long Lana wants to go. Really.
Oh, hey, it's totally up to y'all.
Well, the only reason why I was going to do an hour tonight was because my girlfriend, she has to go to bed, and I am in the bedroom where she needs to sleep.
And that's fine. Yes.
Because I respect my girlfriend. I don't want to be an asshole and say, no, you sleep on the couch. But we do appreciate you, coming on, chatting with us and, taking the time to actually getting to know us, in a way on a genre, loving media, horror fan, stuff like that.
Yeah, anytime you want to come on and promote your new movies or anything, just let us know and you can come on and do that.
Well, thank you. I'm jumping on my next project in October.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm doing my next short. It's all about warming up and learning your craft. So the next title is called "And Never Play Alone." It's I don't want to give too much about it away, but
don't do that.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun project to work on, and I'll be doing another one in the spring and another one next fall as well.
Too bad I don't have like the equipment to do voiceover work for you, because I can do demonic voices pretty well. Like I used to practice Freddy Krueger's, deep, tone voice that he would have, even though it's not real. But I would always do the Lisa, no running in the hallway.
That's good.
Yes.
Or like, what's your favorite scary movie?
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
Oh, you know what? I kind of do that voice wrong if you really think about it, because his is more like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to slash your fucking throat, And are you excited for the new Scream?
I mean, I haven't really thought about it, but I just get a little nervous when some of these remakes come out, because I'm like, am I going to love it? But I'm going to give it a view. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go in there with an open mind. I'm going to try not to be judgmental. I'm going to let the story take me on this adventure. Mm-hmm. And I'll let you know what I think after I'm done viewing it.
Well, how did you feel? Did you get to watch the 2018 Halloween?
Yes, I did.
Did you enjoy it though?
Yeah. I mean, they'll never be able to relive the original Halloween.
Oh yeah, of course.
John Carpenter's. There's sometimes that you only get one time to make magic happen.
Oh yes.
And I did like Halloween 1, 2, and Season of the Witch. It was just so weird.
That threw me off when that came out.
Yeah, I love it. I know it's the reason why, because it had the sci-fi feel. It had a sci-fi feel.
Yes, it did. And I kept expecting Michael Myers, of course, because Halloween.
And I think that was kind of the beauty of it. It kind of took us all by surprise, and kind of after that, it was like,
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if like Scream will kind of be that same, atmosphere where instead of like being like, say, the 5th movie, it ignores the others and just goes to that timeline.
But real quick before jumping off, now that we're talking about Scream, I don't know, and I hope I'm wrong. I don't know if they're going to be able to reinvent. Like, I mean, I saw Scream when it first came out.
Yes, I do.
It was something about the magic in that theater. As Drew Barry is answering the phone, you're just on the edge of your seat, like, what is going on? You know, and it was so many emotions, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is
seeing
crazy.
her boyfriend all fucked up, yeah.
And then hearing the voice, you know, hang up on me and I'll gut you like a fish. It's like, whoa, this guy means business. It just brought this old school slasher.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know if we're going to be able to do that again. Like I said, sometimes you're only given one shot to capture magic.
That is true, and I agree with you, because I think it was Wes Craven who created it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and may he rest in peace.
Yeah, he was fabulous.
Yes, he was.
Mhm.
And I can't, speaking of like John Carpenter, I'm getting The Thing, the 1984, I think, Kurt Russell one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting that this sometime soon, because I got the 4K that's coming out.
Nice.
So I'm excited to watch that, see how that turned out for the transfer, especially with the practical effects that they have.
And, you know, that collecting all these different films that y'all do, that's so important, because you never know in the future if there'll be a push to sensitize stuff, and you'll have a collection of history.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Lana, so much for joining us. Definitely have you on again whenever you would like to. And
just whenever,
yeah, and promote whatever you got and whatever it may be. Let the people know where they can find you.
Well, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. Just look me up. You can hashtag Buzzardview Manor. You can hashtag Lana Winters or Lady Winters. You'll find me.
Okay, cool. And of course, you have an IMDb that
yes,
that people can check out. And of course, when will your short, I guess, be available for people to watch?
Well, first I'm going to submit it out to the film festivals first, because there's some film festivals that don't like the public to view it first.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I shared privately. But now this screenings for the film festivals only. I'll probably give it like 3 months, 4 months, maybe 5 the max, and then I'll let it be available.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for
having me. Have a good night.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
Take care.
Good night.
Bye.
Talk to you later.